It's a grey and gloomy day, but adding some color to proceedings is this pair. This is the new Skoda Kylaq, and it's everything that we like about the Skoda Kylaq in a smaller and more affordable package. This is the Mahindra XUV 3XO, and it was the winner of our last compact SUV comparison. Question is, can the new Kylaq shake things up to become the compact SUV to buy? But before I give my thoughts, which of these two compact SUVs is your pick, or would you rather have one of the other models on sale? Let us know in the comment section below, and if you haven't already, please do subscribe to the Autocar India channel and hit that bell icon to be notified every time we have a new video up. Let's start with the way they look. Both models measure just under 4 meters in length, but it's the Kylaq that looks more proportionate. The 3XO's tail section looks brutally cut, and that's because it is. The 3XO was a Sangyong Tivoli once upon a time. Styling is a subjective matter, but I prefer the way the Kylaq looks. The wide grille, split headlamps and chunky bumper work really well together. 17-inch rims and chunky cladding at the sides help the stance, and the scuff plate at the back conveys an outdoorsy look. However, the small tail lights are more hatchback than quasi-SUV. The 3XO takes a different approach with a more in-your-face look. Vertically oriented headlights, C-shaped DRLs and a sharply cut bumper lend the 3XO its distinctive face. 17-inch rims go with the 3XO's muscular vibe, and follow one and you'll think you're behind a larger vehicle. The XUV's width makes it look like a substantial vehicle. In fact, the 3XO is the widest of the compact SUVs and gives the Mahindra a big advantage in interior space, as we'll learn shortly. Also helping here is the Mahindra's segment-best 2600mm wheelbase, though the Kylaq's 2556mm figure is only second to the XUVs. In top spec form as featured here, both models ride on 17-inch rims, while the XUV has the advantage with greater ground clearance, 201mm to the Kylaq's 189mm figure. Now for what they're like inside. Into the Kylaq first. This thunk on door shut is a great start to your experience in the Kylaq, and once you're inside, that impression that this might be a cheapened out Kylaq interior is blown away, because this is as good as the Kylaq's interior. In fact, some of the touches are actually nicer. I like this olive green detailing that you get on the dashboard, this nice texture up here, textured finish over here. So it doesn't feel like a cut price Kylaq, in case that's an image you have of the Kylaq in your mind. Now, there are a lot of nice things about the cabin. Some premium bits like this 2-spoke steering wheel looks really nice and is great to hold. The seats are very large, great support. Just check out the shoulder support. So it's really nice, and also gets power adjust for both passenger and driver's seat. There's more to like too. Now, this is a well thought out cabin with plenty of space for smaller items. So you get big bottle holders on the doors, 2 cup holders right here. You get a bit of storage under this armrest, which is adjustable, a nice and large glove box, as well as a wireless charging pad at the base of the center console. The XUV 3XO takes another route to win you over. The 3XO's cabin immediately establishes itself as the more upmarket and more premium space, and there's a lot to credit for that. For instance, you get this dual tone theme, so you get cream upholstery as well as the lower bit of the dash, while the upper half is finished in black. There's also a generous use of gloss materials, including this dimpled texture on the dash that adds a little bit of spice to the design. And on top spec AX7 and AX7L versions, you also get soft touch plastics, and it really does a lot for the overall sensation inside the cabin. The cream upholstery will need commitment from your side to keep clean though. You like your driving position, it's slightly elevated, and you also see the bulges on the bonnet that adds to that SUV feel. But what is missed is steering reach adjust. You can only adjust it for angle, and I also find the seat a bit too sporty in its bolstering. Healthier occupants like myself will find this to be an issue. Like in the Kylaq, you'll find plenty of room for small items within the XUV's cabin. You get this center armrest. It's not adjustable like the one on the Kylaq, but there is some storage space underneath. You get two cup holders here, your wireless charging pad over here, the glove box. Now it does look shallow, but it is actually very deep if you look this way, and your door pockets pack in two bottle holders each. Things get interesting when we talk features. In consideration here are the fully loaded models of both. In terms of comfort features, both pack in keyless entry, leatherette seats, rear AC vents and rear armrests. However, the Kylaq has the advantage with not just powered front seats but ventilation too, that helps on a hot day. But where the Kylaq gets a single pane sunroof, the XUV 3XO goes one up with a panoramic unit, which for many will be a pull in its own right. The XUV 3XO is also the only one with dual zone climate control, giving greater personalization of temperatures to front passengers. In terms of infotainment features, both models tick the important boxes with digital dials, large touchscreens, wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, as well as wireless phone charging support. The Skoda's 8-inch digital instruments don't extend the width of the console, but you do get 3 layouts to play with. The 3XO borrows the XUV 700's 10.25-inch digital dials, and again there are 3 layouts on offer. On fully loaded versions, the screen also offers a blind spot view. However, the screen menus aren't easy to navigate on the go, especially those for ADAS settings. Moving to the touchscreens, the Kylaq's 10-inch unit is slick and nice to use, but the reverse camera needs an upgrade. The XUV 3XO has the advantage with a 360-degree view and crisper image from its cameras. The 10.25-inch screen is smooth too, and there are more apps packed in as well. The XUV also gives more connected tech with the option to remotely access car functions such as ignition, AC controls, and more. In terms of the audio systems, the Kylaq's 4-speaker and 2-tweaker system delivered good output. The 3XO gets a 7-speaker Harman Kardon sound system and offers more personalization too, but somehow the output didn't wow. Shifting focus to the back seats. Where the Kylaq is on the back foot is when you switch to the back seat. Now I'm just under 6 feet tall, the front seat is set to my driving position, and as you can tell, I have just about enough knee room, though there is quite a bit of space under the front seat to tuck my feet under. Headroom is adequate for a taller passenger, so an average size adult will be fine. In terms of cabin width as well, though there is the provision of a rear center headrest, this is not going to be the comfiest seat for 3 adults to sit at the back. In fact, the seat bolstering itself suggests that this is a seat meant for 2. The best way to enjoy it is to pull this rear center armrest down and stretch out and sit. Rear seat passengers will have more to like in the Mahindra. The 3XO has the clear advantage when it comes to rear seat space. Now again, I'm under 6 feet tall, front seat set to my driving position, and I have a couple of inches to the front seat. And it's not only in terms of legroom, but cabin width as well. This is clearly the wider cabin. In fact, it's the widest car in its class, which means seating 3 adults is a lot more comfortable in the XUV 3XO. Now, taller occupants at the back will have to contend with limited headroom because of this hump on the roof, which exists to accommodate the mechanism for this panoramic glass roof. Fold-down armrests with cup holders, rear AC vents and large bottle holders are elements you'll find on both models. The Kylaq gets 2 USB Type-C chargers at the back, while the XUV offers a Type-C and 12-volt charger combo. The Kylaq might be down on cabin room, but it's got more space for luggage. It's got the deeper boot, giving more flexibility in how you place your luggage. The 3XO's luggage area isn't quite as deep, and it's down on length too. Both models get 60-40 split fold rear seats for times when you need even more room. Also, both position their spare tires under the boot floors. Moving to what's under the bonnet, the XUV 3XO offers more choice with a 1.5-litre diesel engine, a 1.2-litre 3-cylinder turbo-petrol engine, and a stronger 1.2-litre 3-cylinder direct-injection turbo-petrol engine, which is the one in consideration here. The Kylaq is solely offered with a 1-litre 3-cylinder direct-injection TSI turbo-petrol engine. The Kylaq's 115 horsepower and 178 Nm are significantly down on the XUV 3XO's class-leading 130 horsepower and 230 Nm figures. We've taken the automatic gearbox versions of both models, and the transmission is the great equalizer, being the same 6-speed torque converter unit from Aisin. The drive experience reveals much. Into the Kylaq first. The Kylaq's 1-litre engine is slightly slower to respond at low speeds, and that's something you'll have to get used to in city driving. But thereon, the power delivery becomes smooth and progress becomes easygoing. This is an engine with TSI in its name, so there's a lot more to it. Like other iterations of the 1-litre TSI engine, this one too punches above its weight and feels significantly stronger than its cubic capacity would have you believe. And that's most evident in the mid-range. Cross 2000 RPM and right up till 5000 RPM or so, you will have the engine run at its happiest and liveliest. What helps make the most of the mid-range are the paddle shifters. You'll be only too happy to drop down a gear, get the engine into its punchiest zone and power on. You can change gears via the gear lever as well, and even in full automatic mode, the gearbox does its job rather smoothly. Adding to the fun is the way the Kylaq handles. Now, the Kylaq doesn't get steering modes as you get on the XUV 3XO, and in general, it's a lighter steering wheel. But it's nice and smooth, and you can have great fun in the corners. And you get the feeling that this chassis could actually take on a larger, more powerful engine, maybe a 1.5 TSI for a Kylaq RS. When cruising out on the highway, the Kylaq drives like a bigger car, but there is more up and down movement than you get in the XUV 3XO. The Kylaq does have the edge in low speed ride comfort. If you've driven a Skoda Kylaq, you'll find the Kylaq to be a softer, cushier Kylaq. Now that's no bad thing, because that low speed stiffness has been addressed to a great extent. And if you talk specifically in terms of the XUV 3XO's ride comfort, the Kylaq is more absorbent at lower speeds, and over bumps and potholes, you'll also sense that there's a bit more wheel travel as well. Of the other things, while the Kylaq's 1-litre engine is refined in isolation, it is the noisier unit here. The soundtrack in the Kylaq actually goes with the performance on offer. The XUV 3XO has the significant power and torque advantage, and you feel as much from the get-go. Drive modes also help fine-tune the experience. Just as you start out, you'll find the XUV 3XO to feel more alert and more responsive than the Kylaq at low speeds. However, you have to be mindful, at least in city driving conditions, that you're in zip mode. Now, in zip mode, power delivery is the smoothest, and it's most suitable to urban driving conditions where you experience stop-start traffic. If you're in zap or zoom mode, you will find that the engine sort of bunches its power quite early in the rev range, and what that means is that the car will lurch forward, and you don't want that when you're in very tight moving conditions. Of course, when traffic thins out and the road opens up, you'd want to switch to zap or zoom mode, which has the engine breathe freer and gives you greater access to those 130 horses under the bonnet. The XUV does feel different in how it delivers its power. The XUV 3XO's engine has the big power advantage, but it's also quite different in its character. For instance, where the Kylaq's engine sort of incites you to make the most of the mid-range, the XUV 3XO's engine feels strong throughout. So right from low revs, it's more alert, more responsive, and even the mid-range, there is a constant and steady stream of power. You don't have to work the XUV 3XO's engine to get the best out of it. The XUV 3XO is quicker in flat-out acceleration, clocking an 11.05 second 0 to 100 kph time to the Kylaq's time of 11.69 seconds. However, in kickdown acceleration from 20 to 80 kph, both models clocked an identical 6.38 seconds. In the 40 to 100 kph kickdown run, the 3XO was quicker. The 3XO is quick and fun, but you will miss paddle shifters on days when you want to take manual control. Gear shifts via the lever are responsive enough though. What's remarkable is the 3XO engine's refinement. Even when revved hard, it doesn't thrum like you'd expect a 3-cylinder unit to. There's fun to be had over twisty roads as well. Notably, the XUV 3XO's drive modes also change steering weight. Now, toggling between the three drive modes, which are zip, zap, and zoom, you'll find that the steering weight increases progressively with each mode. You get a good feeling of control at the steering wheel, but to me, the standout element is the great road holding or grip that you experience over the corners. So you can carry a lot of speed with a great deal of confidence. At higher speeds, the XUV 3XO feels poised and composed, and you can attribute that to the relatively long wheelbase. At high speeds, the 3XO rides flatter than the Kylaq. On the flip side, the low-speed ride is a bit firmer than the Kylaq's, but not to the extent of being a deal breaker. The XUV 3XO does have something that the Kylaq doesn't offer: advanced driver assistance systems. Now, unique to the XUV 3XO is its suite of ADAS functions. Now, on our chaotic Indian roads, it always helps to have an extra set of eyes, which in the XUV 3XO's case are the cameras, and there's also feed from the radars. Now, the ADAS functions work really well, but again, they're best thought of as an added safety net rather than something to rely completely on. The ADAS suite includes adaptive cruise control, auto emergency braking, lane keep assist, and more. The features work well enough on well-marked roads, but I'm not sure how many buyers in this segment would be willing to pay the added 1.8 lakh rupees for the features that come bundled with a 360-degree camera and segment-first electric parking brake. Commendably, both the Kylaq and XUV 3XO are Bharat NCAP 5-star rated cars. They're well matched on essential safety kit with 6 airbags apiece, ABS, ESC, ISOFIX child seat mounts, and 3-point seat belts for all seats. The XUV 3XO does go one up with rear disc brakes, though we preferred the brake feel on the Kylaq. There is more safety related tech in the XUV 3XO. Finally, onto the matter of fuel economy. We put the two cars through our fuel efficiency test loops in Mumbai city as well as on the highway, and it's the XUV that delivered a higher figure in town of 9.9 kpl. The XUV's auto stop start keeps the engine off for longer durations, and this could have helped economy. The Kylaq disappointed with 8.7 kpl. The Skoda did edge past on the highway, delivering 13.3 kpl to the XUV 3XO's 13 kpl figure. In terms of pricing, the Skoda Kylaq and Mahindra XUV 3XO are about at par for comparable trim levels. The fully loaded XUV 3XO AX7L featured here is pricey at 15.79 lakh rupees ex-showroom, but forgo the ADAS 360-degree camera and electric parking brake, and you can get the AX7, whose 13.99 lakh rupee price tag is identical to the top-spec Kylaq Prestige 80s price tag. Talk like-priced variants, there is a bit of give and take in features, but they're still close. The duo are also close on driving experience. The XUV 3XO is marginally faster, the Kylaq is marginally more entertaining in its handling and slightly more absorbent in its ride quality. The real differences come through in other areas. The Kylaq has the larger boot and a likable cabin in its own right, but the XUV 3XO feels plusher inside and offers way more room for passengers. The advantage in fuel economy also tips the scales in favor of the Mahindra. Keen drivers will enjoy both models, but it's the XUV 3XO that eventually makes you feel like you've got more for your money.